Fresh, out on Hulu, feature debut of director Mimi Cave. It's a mixture of horror and dark comedy, starring Daisy Edgar-Jones, Sebastian Stan, and Jojo T. Gibbs. If you don't know what the film is about, I would recommend going into it blind without watching any of the trailers, because I think it's fairly good at building up a certain kind of story and setting up expectations, only then to suddenly switch gears about 30 minutes in, which, by the way, is the moment when the title card first comes up and the credits roll, which is very late, almost as if a whole quarter of the film is just the prologue. To give you just the basic spoiler-free setup, the prologue centers on Noah, a young woman who is trying to find love through dating apps unsuccessfully, almost ready to give up. But one day she meets a guy the old-fashioned way. He strikes a conversation with her at a grocery store. Steve, because that's the guy's name, he's not only handsome and funny, he seems to just generally be an awesome guy. They go on a date, they end up in bed, everything is going like a fairy tale, and then Steve invites Noah for a weekend out of town. And she decides to accept to go, which is when it turns out that Steve has secrets of his own. That's as much as I'm saying, even though from the marketing and even the released description, the filmmakers give away much more. Now, listen, with the premise that the movie then follows and the tone it was going for, which is, again, a mix of comedy and horror, I didn't expect much from it, and I was pleasantly surprised. I think Fresh ends up being much better than it had any right to be. I think mainly because it nails that tone. I think it's quite difficult to walk the fine line between serious horror and humor without going too far in either direction. A lot of people have compared Fresh to Ready or Not from a few years back, which isn't that far off. Although I thought that film was okay at best, this one is just genuinely solid. It does the balancing act of the atmosphere very, very well. It never goes too deep into the horror, which, given the plot, could have easily become stupid very quickly. But neither does it veer too much into the parody territory. The humor is there, but it never takes over the entire movie. It doesn't become a pastiche of itself. I think the performances are very good. Daisy Edgar-Jones is very believable as this trapped girl in danger, trying to figure out a way to survive. Sebastian Stan is clearly having loads of fun with his character. He's properly unhinged. Jojo T. Gibbs is great as a friend who gets suspicious, and I was really rooting for her. The plot itself, while seemingly very, very simple, managed to surprise me more than once with where it went. I especially liked how the concerned friend's investigation subplot went, because it sets up certain expectations and then it kind of pulls the rug. Also, there's a side character of a bartender who helps her, and his final scene, his final appearance in the film is just straight up comedy gold. I loved it. Plus, not only is it a great comedic moment, it also works very well narratively to help the film get to a proper earned ending. I was also quite impressed with the technical aspects, especially the use of music and editing in the film. Some of the scene transitions especially were just totally great, especially coming from a first-time director, although Mimi Cave has experience directing music videos, so there's that. In general, if I was trying to explain exactly why I like the film so much, I think at the end of the day it's difficult to really nail it down. By all accounts, it should be a ridiculous B-movie, but it isn't. It's a well-made, fun, enjoyable ride. So maybe in this case, instead of wondering exactly why it works so well, we should just accept that it does and be thankful for the pleasant surprise.